This is episode 1.
Now I feel very on the spot.
You're on the spot. Welcome to the Extravaganza. Dan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Daniel Leone here. Ceramicist, artist, bonsai extraordinaire. Aqeel's master.
Maestro.
Master.
Oh, yeah, that's what that is, right? Here I'm making my piece of work in their Going Large workshop. Dan has been excellent. They're here at the Mawson Gallery, one of the cool people in Canberra, very creative. And they just showed me some of their work they did with, what was it,
Wood firing.
Wood firing, yeah. And the chemistry that occurs is phenomenal. And we were just discussing the overlaps of science and art. What science do you know? What's on the boundaries of your understanding when it comes to pottery?
Well, that's a good one. I guess you're in the field of kind of pyrometrics, and it's kind of more akin to baking as well, which would be the glaze making. But yeah, no, the wood firing is all about understanding flame path, how the ash falls, how the ash and the carbon and the atmosphere create certain reactions in the clay, and we get all these different surface textures and treatments. And yeah, like we were saying before, it's very much science meets art and exploration and play, and it ticks every box. That's why I do it.
What part don't you understand?
Oh, 99% of it. It's one big guessing game the entire time. You learn a little bit every time. You get clues and hints, but it's always random, and that's the best part. And I've actually learned to make my work in conjunction with that randomness, the volatility, it kind of has led my practice, yeah. Whereas other people try to force it a lot, like they'll make cups or crockery and they're trying to make perfect work, but you know, there's ash and there's really rough carbon and there's breakages and there's all these problems in the kiln, and then when they get their work, they're really frustrated because I tried to make a perfect cup and now it doesn't work properly. Whereas, and I guess that's how I kind of started, but I thought, what's the point of throwing away half your work when these wood firings are so intense and labor intensive, and you know, we only get to do 1 or 2 a year. That's how special they are.
Yeah.
I was telling Aqeel it takes 15 people to fire this kiln, and it's fired over a week straight, constantly feeding it timber. So it takes, you know, weeks of chopping timber. It takes shifts of people through the night. And then you've got to grind the bricks and clean the kiln. It's just work, so much work. So yeah, to sit there and then throw work away after the fact is heartbreaking. I don't get it. So that's why I work with slag. I work with broken things. You know what I mean? I see what results it gives me, and then I make my work after that.
So instead of fighting nature, you started working with it. At what point did you realize you didn't have control, and what was it like being a person thinking you had control and now getting, I guess, a state of mastery where now you can play with the truth of nature and art? What was it that was going on? What's the journey? There's surely a lot, right? Like that's a huge mental, physical, personal thing to go through.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely right about the journey part. I think we all are kind of born with the answer when we're kids. We start at the finish line, but we take it for granted and we don't understand just how freeing childhood is, that you can make things and you don't care what other people think. You're not influenced by what your art has to be. You don't. But as you become older and you're told what good art is, and and you become a teenager and you're susceptible to pressure and all the nonsense, I think all artists become a bit brainwashed as to what art must be. And then I think the journey is really trying to get back to a state of freedom, get back to a place of play, get back to that childhood freedom. But you want to take, I think for me, you want to take those elements of what it means to be an adult. In terms of mastery, I don't know, like if you ever master anything really. I don't know what that kind of means these days.
When I hire people or look at people, I see if they've got the ability to play within their thing, whatever they're doing, and I consider that mastery, whether they can play with it.
Interesting.
Now, I suppose that adulthood, are you talking about the crafting, the wisdom, or the knowledge? Like, what's the difference between art and craft for you?
Oh, that's such a good question, because that for me is everything.
Yeah.
There is a big divide, and I think most of us don't. We talk about art that's good or bad, and I don't believe art can be good and bad, but craft can be good and bad. So craft is the thing that you can really teach and learn. Like you have to respect the material. That is something I guess you could master. You can understand how material works. You understand how the wood fires, how the kiln works, the hot spots, all those things. Craft, a chair either works or it doesn't work. How the chair looks, the artistic and the conceptual side of the chair, there is no good and bad in that. That's completely subjective. And that's like saying, is green a good color or a bad color? Well, it's the color green. It makes zero sense. But if it was, does that check out?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
I'm just chuckling because my associative memory is really like a whole thing, which is why conversations with me are wild. And when you said, what is green? Is green's just a thing? It reminded me of seeing, there was a cafe here in Canberra and it was like a milkshake and one of the ingredients was green.
Oh, like matcha or something? Or?
I don't know. It was just green. I'm like, okay, what's green? It just made me chuckle because immediately I saw this and it just decidedly, I was like, what is green? What is green? And it brings up the sense of qualia and all that stuff as well, which qualia is, I feel like, partially the reason why art can neither be good or bad, because it fundamentally is the observed experience of somebody else looking at it, I guess. But I do want to go, because that's a whole conversation in a stream that we'll get to, but I do want to talk about something you said about mastery there again, which was like the craft can be mastered because you could understand it.
We can understand how things respond, react. We can learn from each other as to like, well, I tried melting this at this temperature, and we can pass on that information, which is kind of how I see science and art merging.
Is that mastery though?
Well, that's the funny thing. I mean, what does it really mean? I mean, you can spend your life learning, I don't know, for example, you could learn one type of mushroom and you'll never know 90% of that in your lifetime about that one type of mushroom,
When I was doing my PhD in nuclear physics, there was this point during my literature review where I was like, I can kind of start to see where all of the things that my professors and like supervisors were talking about, how kind of would come together. But it would take me over 10 years to scratch the surface of that understanding.
It was hilarious in art school when, I had one of my glaze teachers, Greg Daly, is world renowned, has written several books on it. Yeah. He goes to China and Japan and teaches them glazes. Spent his entire life chasing alchemy, and he's a chemist, really. I mean, and it's funny, we did like a whole semester on glazing and learning the chemical reactions and the components and all these different things. And at the end of the class, they're like, well, throw it all out the door because anything could happen anyway.
Exactly.
This is the clay, and it's a good thing actually, Miranda, to explain to you that even though you see that little glaze on the wall, you've got a different clay body. It goes in a different part of the kiln. There's different, the way you apply it's different. So it's just too random. And that's why I don't understand why this is why perfectionism's bullshit.
Oh, tell me more.
But we're in this, and it's a great conversation, the art craft divide, and mixing in perfectionism versus play and chaos and those things, because we're at this pivotal time in history where, we've got mass production, we've got AI, we've got if I want a perfect cup, I can go and buy one for $2.
Mm-hmm.
And but through most of history, somebody had to hand make that. And so there was really this push of making how perfect can you make a cup. There was a really good measure because it was so hard to eliminate the human touch. But now we're at a point in history where we've lost the human touch altogether. So some people are still stuck in the world of tradition and can't kind of pivot. So when you go to these firings, it's really interesting. You get these potters that must be perfect and precision because history and tradition has told us you need to be a master craftsperson. There's the 10,000 hour fallacy. There's all this. You were still heavily influenced by the Japanese culture of, making one thing over and over and over and getting it perfect. But it's funny because that concept, as special as that was right up until this point in history, is now redundant in my eyes.
Yeah. I'm noticing your definition of mastery is extremely different to mine. Mine being the one where you can decide, I notice that somebody's able to play. As in the moment that I see somebody starting to do things with the chaos, making something that is actually quote unquote less perfect, or rather it's less mechanical, that's where I see its mastery. That's how I define mastery. When I look for mastery, I look for that. Whereas from your discussion and your definitions, it has been, and maybe this goes to the nomenclature of, I guess, master and apprentice in pottery anyway, which is, I guess, closer to craft. And you also meant craft as understanding, which to me, I don't value it that highly as an extremely educated, knowledgeable person. I'm just like, well, yeah, whatever, it's no big deal. Knowledge, understanding, like science. Yes, I can tell you the science. I can kill it with science, and I can actually kill it with science to the point it becomes beautiful again. Well, and that's where it's like the true mastery, I guess, which is, I guess, where you said, where it's like, then throw it out the door because anything can happen. And that's why I like the stuff that you had with the fire, right? Like the wood itself having silica within it, becoming a glaze. And like, it's a complex chemistry rather than a...
Oh yeah, it tells a story of I think the funny thing is, you say that you don't like craft. I think we've reached that pinnacle in time where everything is so machined, that everything is so perfect that we kind of take it for granted. Like, you don't notice a bad cup until you drink from one, till it's uncomfortable to hold, till it dribbles down your face, but we never experience those cups because we're inundated with mass-produced cups.
No, you're forgetting the cup that I made for May.
Oh yeah. Which I so wish I got you both to drink that while I was watching, because I knew it wasn't gonna pour.
Yeah.
It's funny, I pulled out this teapot the other day I made in uni. We did a restaurant commission component, and I had a friend, and it was a beautiful looking teapot. Yeah. This is typical Italian design. It looks good, doesn't work properly. And I thought, this is a beautiful teapot. Why don't I use this anymore? So I had a friend coming over, and I thought, I'm going to make her a nice cup of tea. And it's got its own little tray, and I pulled it out, and I went to go pour us both the tea. And it was such a bad pour, just water went everywhere. And we both just laughed, and I was like, this is why I don't use this tea. So you notice it you notice it when, but it's a very big luxury. It's crazy. It's so bourgeois to be able to say, do away with craft and be completely artistic and be completely conceptual. And it's a privilege because through history, you never got to do this. Like pottery wasn't art until like 100, 200 years ago. It was like, we need a cup. You know what I mean? I need. It's weird. It's just like, yeah, it's just like, I need somewhere to sit. We better make a chair. But we got to the point where it's just like, well, now we've got so many chairs and we're so good at making them. Why don't we make weird chairs? What happens if we take away a leg? What happens if we get conceptual with this?
Totally.
And so we're just at such a weird point in time where everything goes, but everything's machined and we're trying to fight to be humans. It's just
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I don't know where I stand in it all, I'll tell you that.
I love Bauhaus as a, I guess, art thing. And
as a canon?
It's a canon, that's the word. Kandinsky, right? Kandinsky.
One of them, yeah.
One of them, yeah.
German expressionist, I think.
Yeah. And their whole thing, form and function. I love that concept of form and function and the point where something can be so perfect and of such great form and function that it becomes art itself, which is how I describe meos as art, which I say it is perfection in its form and way and really is architecturally, and a lot of effort has gone into its design, but it's absolutely not at all like your standard phone app. It doesn't have buttons down the bottom like the thing's got this crazy radial menu, but that's all inspired from something else. It's not like it's completely innovative and new. How much of your art is stolen?
All of it.
Good answer.
There's nothing new under the sun. There's a very Daniel element that I can't remove, that's for sure.
The noses?
Yeah. Well, even that I pinched from no, I don't think noses are anything new. What I try to steal, though, it's interesting. What I try to steal is not the design or the concept. Oh, sorry, not the design or the looks. I try to steal the concepts and the philosophy. So here's a big one. Like in Indigenous culture, there's a big, especially with First Nations paintings and things. There was a lot of people ripping them off. A lot of white people doing their own dot paintings.
Yeah.
And stealing. And so when I talk about taking from culture, I talk about more like, I think this is my understanding, is that not that we're trying to replicate the work, but we're trying to pass on the philosophy. What we're stealing is the appreciation. Stealing's the wrong word, but what we're copying is the philosophy. So there's this deep appreciation, say in First Nations works, for land, for care of land management, for understanding territory, for understanding those, to having pride of what's around you and awareness to your surroundings. That's what we're taking from it. Or like in bonsai, for example, we're trying to make beautiful, mutated, stunted trees that wouldn't stand a chance in the wild, and then we put them in pots. But what people don't understand is that they'll just try and copy the Japanese. They'll just try and grow things like this, like a cedar, right? This isn't my tree. This is a client's. I'm making a pot for it. But they'll try and copy the Japanese. But what the Japanese don't want you to copy them. They want you to they want you to take the philosophy. They want you to appreciate your native material and work with your native. So that's why we're moving towards gum trees and casuarinas, and that's how. So that's how I steal.
I love that.
I steal the concepts, I steal the philosophy, and I make my own work.
And I guess they're open for that to happen. It kind of.
But that's what we want, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm reminded of for some reason in my life, somehow people look to me as a leader somehow. It just happens. It's always kind of bothered me in a way.
Comes with the height.
And I have always been like, I've always struggled where it's like, I don't want followers. I don't want people to follow me. I'm like, don't you understand? My whole philosophy is like to try make you in your strength. And, in that example.
What do you think it is that people are following?
I have no idea. But I think I wonder if it's the same sort of, I noticed that there are certain types of people that would be more likely to copy and follow rather than really look for the truth behind it or being able to integrate within themselves as truth. There's this meme I love. This is me taking the philosophy of a meme and like engaging it into myself. I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's like on my Signal bio and like Instagram bio.
Yeah.
And I actually just recently, like last weekend, I made an artificial life experiment based on this one phrase, which is from the meme, which is, and yet a trace of the true self exists within the false. And the meme is, it shows a dinosaur evolving into a chicken, which turns into like chicken breast, which turns into chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs. All right. It's also part of the reason why I have like a plastic dinosaur at home. Just it reminds me, it's like, oh yeah, that's fossil fuels that turn into oil. It's turned into a plastic dinosaur. That's actually a dinosaur. I love this. And I think that like they're nice reminders of if there is something that has truly evolved, and I think that's it, whether it's an evolution or a copy. I think that's the key aspect that I guess I'm looking for. Whether people are just trying to copy a design and imitate something versus truly understanding it. And then with that, comprehension, I guess, amongst their qualia being their subjective understanding of something. The fact that my green is different to your green. Once it's engaged into my being, and then I try to recreate it based on that new truth, I'll create a falsehood of if I was trying to produce the other thing. But if I've really integrated it within me, it'll be an evolution. And so in the artificial life experiment that I created, it's on GitHub. If you're listening and you want to go look it up, it's called Autograph. It is based on a neural evolution through augmented topologies algorithm for evolving neural networks. It's something that I had a romantic obsession with. It uses a genetic algorithm just like humans, has a DNA sequence for each neural network. Then you test them, and then you make a population, you breed a new one, etc. It always evolves. And the task that I've got them to do is that neural network needs to take the image, the actual image, the thing that defines the neural network, as its input, and then output the DNA sequence that created that image. And it's a continuous evolution experiment that goes on forever, that you can visit on your phone, and it starts helping the experiment of having these little neural networks trying to produce their true self out of the false, their original DNA out of the false. And that every single one that gets slightly better than the one before it as well, because it is a genetic algorithm, has a bit of the original genome of where it was before that. And it's always an evolution. There's this other saying that like is stuck with me as well, which is evolution is amoral, culture serves the genome, and for humanity to survive, we must transcend. If we do nothing, then whatever culture is existing will service whatever nature of creation. Let's say it's like a set of 100 different pots. It'll continuously service it if that's the need. If you need chairs, you need this and that, you need a cup. That's just what it needs to serve. And it will continue to evolve there. We're getting more and more efficient and better.
So where is it at now?
Well, the transcendence is play. That's where I think it's like you get to a point of mastery and play. Like, I think when you've gotten to the point of being able to do that so well, the transcendental thing to do there is to let's just mix up the algorithm a bit because it's good enough. We have the safety and it's fine. That we can actually, inject a bit more of our humanity into it again, which is like going to AI generated art, always being imitation, always being a copy. It's the same thing. Our humanity is that little bit of transcendence that we can provide to be able to create it further. And I think it goes to a lot of things.
Do you see evolution and transcendence as a linear thing, that it's moving forward in a way, or do you see it as just change?
It's just change. Yeah, it's just change. Time and the directionality of it and all that sort of stuff, that's another thing that keeps me up at least once a quarter. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, it was great chatting.
Are we not chatting anymore?
We've been chatting for 25 minutes.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, time flies.
Yeah. These are meant to be like 10-minute episodes.
We haven't heard from Miranda.
Oh, yeah, Miranda's in the room. Oh, that's the first thing. That other voice you might be hearing. They're not really in frame.
Bye, Podcast World.
Bye, Podcast World. And thanks for chatting.
Daniel Leone Art Instagram. Come and find me.
Yes, and you run classes here in this gallery.
Classes, bonsai services, sales, talks, demos, classes, coffee, tea, biscuits.
Yeah.
Even a viable bathroom.
And
we've got it all here at the Mawson Gallery.
My thing is you should get meos and go to getmeos.com. Bye, everyone. The conversation was so good that we had to continue. No, we had to continue.
All right, welcome back, Podcast World.
Welcome back, yes, indeed. You were saying back on stealing. If you stealing.
Roping back around, I don't really think you can steal. If you see it as stealing, you're thinking individually, because you're not really one person, are you? You're like a culmination of everybody and everything around you. Like, it's easy to sit here and say, this is my thing, I made this out of clay, and it's your intellectual property, but you didn't make the clay, you didn't make the wheel you're on, the water in the clay came from, it took hundreds of millions of people to get to this. And then it's going to take many more people to fire it and to, so I think our culture really heavily puts the individual on a pedestal, but there's no such thing. There is no Michelangelo. There was the church, there was the community, the country, everything around them, the apprentices, the paint makers, I was watching a documentary the other night on Egyptology, and they dig up these kings and queens and pharaohs, but it's not really Tutankhamun, is it? It's more a representation of Egypt at the time, and the goldsmiths and the calligraphers, and there was no Tutankhamun. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I like the Chuck Palahniuk quote, which is in Invisible Monsters, which is nothing of me is original, and the combined effort of everyone. Yeah.
Or what was that other, I can't remember that politician that said, if I'm great, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants.
It's a classic. We use that one in science all the time. Stand on the shoulders of giants, right? Isaac Newton said that, I think.
Was it Isaac Newton? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very common.
But yeah, we're just building
in the art
upon.
world, it's really like, okay, AI stealing art. Artists are hating it right now.
You think AI is stealing art?
That's what people are saying.
No, that's the narrative.
See, the narrative is like...
This is...
So Miranda's in the podcast now, apparently.
I've got to mic you up.
But the AI, like these companies have taken all of this information and knowledge and haven't necessarily attributed it. It's interesting in the scientific world and the coding world, we kind of just accepted it that would happen because we put our stuff into public domain to be consumed in public domain for the good. The fact that scientific knowledge is finally getting around paywalls, it's actually kind of good. as well. So, but then I think that because the artists themselves, they have never really gotten the recognition or any, I guess, kickback, and they're under a lot of stress already in society. This is just like, why are you continuing to do this to us by like?
Well, I just see it as a telltale sign that the individual has remained an individual in their minds. They don't see themselves as a collective, as one with everybody else. They still see them, because if you're that threatened that someone else is going to take you out, what are you really threatened by there? That you'll no longer be special, that somebody else will get recognition for what the ego me wanted. You know, I've met artists that won't share their glaze recipes or tell you how they do things. And that's fine. It's up to them. It's just really, it's disappointing because, and I was there at one point myself where I was very protective and egotistical about my art. But
it is ego, isn't it?
It is. And not in a negative sense. It's ego as in the literal meaning of me, I. We've identified with something and we don't realize that really the ego never actually did anything. The ego was there just observing. It's necessary, but it's weird that we would take something we create and then we've got this external object we made. I'm now going to attach my identity to it. And I need prestige and I need honor and I need... Here's a really good example. When I was at furniture school back in 2019 in Mittagong, it was quite a prestigious fine furniture school. I had many teachers, some of the best furniture makers in Australia, two 80-year-old guys, and I won't say who they are, but one of them was both very traditional craftspeople. One of them was very proud, bit egotistical, wouldn't share some things, also could come over and be quite negative or very critical, sometimes good, sometimes a bit unnecessary. And he made some nice furniture. This other furniture maker, same age, I would say a lot more accomplished, had furniture, made the Speaker's chair at Parliament House, made... anything you could think of, furniture at the Governor General's overseas, would make some of the finest furniture in the world and super accomplished, like as far as you could get as a furniture maker in this life, and could come over to a student who had just been there for a year and just come up and be totally amazed, come over with eyes wide open and talk to you as if, but you could see that it wasn't a pat on the back, that was true mastery, that they could...
Yes.
When you reach the pinnacle and you realize that more is more, you know,
yes.
why hide secrets? Why harbor?
Yeah.
And there has been many artists in the past that took their secrets to the grave and no one knows how to do it. And who benefits from that? What the fuck's the point? Wouldn't it be great if we knew how the pyramids were built?
Aliens.
Oh, yeah. We do know, right? Aliens. I thought it was giants, but who knows?
Right. Giant aliens.
But imagine if we treated everything else like that in the world. I've got a cure for cancer, but I won't share it with anybody. I won't tell anybody. Imagine what would the world be if we didn't share these things? Yeah. So why is art different? That's the silly thing. In fact, I think it's an honor that someone would want to copy me. When someone wants to put a nose on a cup, I go, fuck yeah, let me show you how I do it.
Yeah, actually, when you said you were impressed by my concept and you did the same thing, I was honestly so flattered.
Yeah.
And
you can never copy anyway. That's the funny thing. No matter how hard you try to copy, like the Impressionists would copy, they had just opened trade with Japan back in the, I think, late 1800s. And they were getting like Japanese woodblock prints. Mm-hmm. So you had like Van Gogh copying Japanese art. Mm-hmm. And you see it, but it's Van Gogh. No matter how much he tried to copy it, it was never going to be Japanese art.
Yeah.
I could try and copy you as much as I want. I'll never be Aqeel.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't copy. Have you even seen AI can't even copy itself? I saw the funniest, someone put in a picture of The Rock Dwayne Johnson, and
they
it said
keep doing it.
reproduce
Yeah.
this perfectly, exactly the same. Don't change a thing, and just kept saying that, and it was amazing how it could never.
Yeah, I can't do it.
It just kept altering. But it's the same with us.
It's noise. Yeah. I could talk about intellectual property as well. Being somebody that, especially in the tech and innovation space, like I can make intellectual property trivially. That's the easy part. It's easy to have ideas and have that concept. And I remember that there were people that were like, oh my God, you should patent this and this, do it on this pathway, commercialize this. I'm like, it just came up trivially. It's fine. The hard part is actually always the craft. In fact, to really get the value of it, of that intellectual property. But if you can share that process as well, I think that's great too.
And it can only benefit you. I mean, if 3 people are working with the same medium or material or technology, you're all trialing different things and you're bouncing that information off each other. The best, and I've just learned it, the best art collections I've seen, bonsai, whatever it be, are the most communal. The people that hide away in their backyard and refuse to talk to anyone else, their work, unfortunately, becomes a bit stagnant. It becomes a bit predictable.
Yeah, that's right. Like, there is a good outcome usually from collaboration if you can learn to collaborate. Yeah, it's hard to.
It's funny that
it takes
people
destroying your ego.
Why do you think people feel the need to like create an ego from it or to strengthen a personality though? Like whether they enter the science world or, isn't it weird? They'll enter the science world but not share their science with other people, or sports people will go in and, I don't know where I was going with that one, but
I've had too many experiences of people with big egos.
Yeah, hiding research, not letting it be peer-reviewed or trying to manipulate it.
In companies and business.
Or I was going to say with sports people, it's a made-up game and yet they'll cheat. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand this. Why, and it's a very Western thing because I was doing an art residency in Indonesia a few years back, and the individual almost didn't matter. The art was completely communal, and they had the same level of respect like for super traditional batik or puppet making alongside street art and graffiti. And even the graffiti artists would go next to each other rather than over the top of each other. There wasn't so much a sense of self. It was kind of more art of the people, by the people, for the people. It wasn't...
I went to see Bangara recently in Canberra Theatre.
Love Bangara.
Yeah, I know this so good.
Yeah.
So good. And in terms of like dance, I personally find contemporary dance and dance my favorite art form to consume.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that quite moves me like Bangara. I was in tears from the beginning to the end constantly. And I was trying to think, I've seen so much excellent work. What is it always about Bangara? Like, why is it there? And like the reason why I enjoy it so much as well is that I can't understand. Like I always come out of it being like, I just don't understand why this is moving me so much. And I love being confused. It's my favorite thing. And
it's pretty rare to embrace the unknown. I think that's the most scary.
It's one of the biggest. It's the best thing about being alive, right?
It's the biggest hurdle.
What?
Embracing the unknown.
Well, yeah, maybe people want to know things for the sake of ego. But I realized that...
That's a very human thing too, right? Like we want to have some idea what's going to happen in the future. We don't want to just go into the unknown. We wouldn't just walk over into that paddock not knowing what animals are there, or we want to have some concept.
Yeah, but I think we might take it a bit too far,
Oh, all the time.
To the point where it's like, you have to have control and idea of everything.
Well, you rope it a background to art, and that's why you talk about you become a master of play. Yeah, you become a master of letting go and just seeing what happens. But people...
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, fuck around, find out. I love that.
Yeah.
But and that's where this whole perfectionism thing comes in. They have an idea in their mind and they can't let it go. And they think that that's perfect. And it is perfect in the mind, but the best things in life come from the unknown.
And I think the perfection for me is, I like to say perfection is how well we can handle ourselves during our mistakes.
Yeah.
And perfection is achieved by completely taking the space which is available, knowing the limitations of what that space is. I found Bangara, what it is for me that I realized is like, because like at the end of it, every time, the last 3 Bangaras I've seen, I've been in tears. I'm like, I just keep crying to the person next to me. I'm like, I just see this is how we could all be. This is what we could all, this is it. This is everything. This is like all of this stuff. And I could never comprehend and put the words to it. But then this time around, I watched it and then had a bit of time to reflect. And I realized that it's because their work, unlike more Western work, which is very much still exploring, and I feel like the West is still exploring existential sort of concepts and finding hope there. The Western work is now moving as well to, I think what this Bangara work is that I discovered is actually really about belonging. All of their work is, they are truly masters, not only of dance, but of the understanding of belonging so well that it comes across in their dance that to them it's completely integrated. They're already hit the sense of belonging. Whereas now with contemporary Western artworks and work and I guess the zeitgeist and feelings, people are really starting to move on beyond the absurdism and start to give people hope. And we've gone beyond optimism a bit more as well, because like we need to give people a bit more agency, but then like for why? And the for why is the belonging that Bangara, they worked it out. They've always known it.
I got a bit of a theory on this as well. I think with any art form, you can never hide the intention. Whether your intention is to just make money, or your intention is to play and have fun, or your intention is to show off, or whatever it be. And Bangara, this is my kind of theory, is that because it's got that First Nations push and it's all about appreciating culture, land, there's so much, that sense of belonging, like you said, you can't get away from that intention.
That's right. And this goes to that, and this is where and why I love that thing, and yet a trace of the true self exists within the false. You can't hide that true originality. Eventually, there's that evolution there.
Yeah.
You can feel quality. You can feel quality when it's fully integrated, and the ego is no longer there.
Yeah.
I still don't have answer to why people seek ego. Maybe they're just stressed. I think it takes a lot of luxury to be able to go through the process of being safe enough to, I don't know. Honestly, got no idea.
What do you think, Miranda?
Cognitive scientist here.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Stuff about ego. We can talk about it later.
I mean, that's a whole other realm.
I think the ego is important. It's important to have an ego in modern world as well. It's
funny that it's just dominated though.
Yeah. Wise mind is like combining the rational and the emotional mind.
So talk me through this. Where are you going with this?
Where I'm going with my artwork. I put a hole here so that I can run a cable if I want to put some lights through here and get light coming out, and like probably some LEDs.
Why would you not run the cable through the bum?
Why would I not?
Yeah.
I thought about it for a long time. That's why I was sitting here.
Yeah.
And also, it's a great butt cheeks.
It is.
Like, they're really, really nice.
You're right. And it adds a level of, it makes it too comical.
Yeah.
And your work's not it's not what you're chasing.
So Yeah, just a nice little heart there. I might put a few hearts on the sides here, like
Love
you
it.
said. That's the boring part of the piece. They can see, I guess, and yeah, exploration.
I really like it. It's coming together.
It is. This fits on now. I'm happy. Got to put the ear over here.
Beautiful.
One side.
Yeah, love it.
The femur, the grass puppy femur over here.
Grass puppy.
Yeah, grass puppy.
Love that.
And I guess the face.
And what's even beautiful is like once it's all finished, the work, how you use this, it then just becomes a whole nother building material for the next thing, whether it be food or plants or...
It's got to go like this, that angle. Yeah, not just straight.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much. It's gonna be fun. I think
It's going to be super dynamic.
You've just given yourself lots of options.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's definitely got the potential to keep evolving. Well, you've done well to encapsulate everything you've been talking about.
Yeah,
It's cool to see ideas manifest.
yeah. They just sort of come out, don't they?
I have to wee.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Podcast World.
Thank you, Podcast World, for the corollary.
You definitely don't want to keep the mic on for that experience.
See you later. And now it's time for show and tell. And don't forget, you can purchase all of this art, and I recommend you reach out. Oh, yes.
All right, so if I was explaining it to Miranda.
Yeah.
So basically it's called a groundhog. In Japanese, an anagama. It's a very primitive, very, very ancient style kiln, just powered by lots of wood. It takes like a team of, there's 15 of us, weeks of chopping wood, and powered over like 5 days where you're constantly feeding it. But yeah, like I was saying, it tells the tale of like the kiln. So this pot was sitting in the kiln like this, right?
Whoa.
So you can see all this. This is ash that falls on so wood would have been thrown on top of this. It's burnt down into ash. The ash has melted into a glaze.
Can you see all that?
See this?
Yeah.
That's seaweed.
What? Oh, what's
See
that
this?
from? Is that from this?
I put seaweed on my pots. Look at that.
Oh,
And those
so
little orange
cool.
blobs are like where the seed pods were in the
Oh.
seaweed. And they explode and they cause flashing.
Oh. So that
That's-
stains it orange.
Yeah.
And then
Then you can
This
see,
is all-
so there's mixed ash glaze as well. That's carbon from the firing, trapped carbon. This is a halo caused, so it would have been sitting on the kiln like that.
yeah, on
With all the
that's on
stuff.
the top.
That's flashing caused by the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So this pot's really cool because you just get a bit of everything.
That's insane.
And then I use it, I pair with really weird textural succulents and things that just contrast.
This
How fun is
dude.
this one? So this was also had lots of wood being thrown on top of it. There's different parts of the kiln, but yeah, this is right where we're feeding the kiln. And all this debris is, ash and just crap.
So how is the kiln set up? Like, when you say you're throwing it in, you're literally throwing it in and there's a fire there?
It's a good question. It's a good question. And I realize how disconnected the pottery world and the normal person is.
We're not normal, but yes.
Into this enclosure?
I guess the best way to describe it, so like, I mean, pottery basically, it's like an extension of a campfire. That would have been the first kind of firing. We got some mud and we put it in a campfire.
Mm-hmm.
And then it evolved into basically building a room to contain the heat, to go higher.
Like an oven.
Pretty much. So you can imagine it's a big hole in the ground, probably the size of this, half this house.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So a big kiln,
Yeah.
half in the ground and then half domed with like kiln bricks.
Yeah.
So you can actually like walk in, but you're like this.
Yeah.
And it's a big dome. They call it a dumpling kiln.
Nice.
It looks like a big dumpling.
Awesome.
And literally, there's a door at the front. You open it to throw wood in,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bit of work on the ground, but it's a very volatile spot because wood's getting thrown in and pots do get smashed. But that's why I put a big chunky pot in there.
Okay.
And then towards the back, you've got shelves which have like cups and finer work. So they catch the ash and things, but they're still usable. So like, for example, that was one of the cups that came through the wood firing.
Right.
Oh, wow. That's so clean in comparison.
Exactly.
It's just like a
Because different parts of the kiln, I like the gnarly bits, and no one likes those
Yeah.
parts of the kiln, so I get
You get
free
to
reign.
use all of it.
That was so I've just done a gold repair, so I can't let you touch it. But this was in the kiln, and it connected to someone else's work, and that's ash that's run down his work. And he didn't want it because there was a bit of a broken bit, but I thought I'll go and repair it.
Yeah, it's like all the unique things. It's like you won't be able to replicate it ever again, so you might as well appreciate it.
And that's exactly right. Like you'll never get two pieces the same. Like so, these are the two pods this woman makes. I've just gold repaired these for her. She has a mold for these, and she makes lots of these. These are in two different parts of the kiln. Same clay, same everything.
Wow.
So you can see that's why it's so exciting. And look at this, like look at that beautiful just drip of ash. So you just never know what you get. It's sometimes they're duds, and so you'll see a lot of red, which is like a lot of iron, because this is a iron heavy clay. But the green, see those green?
Yeah.
That's where the ash starts to form a glaze. And then you get the flame path as well. That creates.
So does the ash melt? Like when it forms a glaze, is it kind of melting into it?
A bit of both.
Okay.
So it does melt, but sometimes it doesn't. And then this is where it hasn't melted.
Yeah.
This is where it has.
And so that's like the ash there.
Some people will mix ash into glazes and make. In fact, some potters, when they pass on, will have their ashes mixed into a glaze.
Oh.
It's a lovely touch.
Yeah.
But you also get flame path. So this is where the flames kind of come across the work.
Yeah.
It creates. So it's hard to know what you're kind of looking at a bit. Sometimes I think on first appearance you can be like, oh, it's a lot of browns, or it's a lot of, or it's poopy greens. But when you start to learn what caused them, it gets exciting.
That's like
It's got a cast.
Yeah.
It didn't mean to, but it's got a cast. And look, this one's stepped in a pot. Look, it's got socks.
That's so cool. Oh, wow. Okay, that's really interesting.
And they're just really fun to use.
It's just like
when
rock. So
this is called wadding. So basically, because the kiln, it gets full of salt and ash, the whole kiln becomes like entire glaze. So everything sticks to everything. So you have to use wadding to separate. See, this is how these are light. There was wadding there, because if I didn't have it, it would just stick to the kiln shelf. So that was a bit of wadding.
Yep.
But it got stuck on.
Oh, so you
I could take that off,
right?
But it looks like a cast.
But it looks
It looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks like he's got a little cast.
And it fits well.
They're cute, aren't they? And they become fun to use. It's more.
So are these all you would use them for pots for like bonsai or other plants? These are mostly good.
Yeah, a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Some bonsai. I'm into these kind of plants at the moment called codiciforms. So I was showing you the that one outside, but see how it looks like a tree, but it's a giant succulent, and this is called codex.
Okay.
And so the plural is codiciforms, because it's not a type of plant; it's just a way they grow. So you get all different types of plants, but they're kind of really cool because they're kind of sculptural, and, super textural, and they look really funky in these pots. So it's like texture on texture, and you get these really soft blobby forms on like jagged, gnarly, ashy pots.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah, great contrast. And you can tell even just looking at this, so this is like a quite ordinary pot, right? Especially when you've just been looking at these. It completely changes the experience. And I've seen some of the other bonsais in like very like I don't know, tailored pots or things.
Well, they can look very commercial, can't they? They can look very like you go to Bunnings, and because they are in stock in
They're a bit too perfect, aren't they?
Yeah, manufactured almost.
It's funny like that, isn't